Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. On this week's presentation, we bring you highlights of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa's activities for the week ending November 27th. And of course, he has been engaging across the board. We've seen that he was engaged with the Ghanaians, he was engaged with the Indians and the Brazilians, and you know, all interested in setting up shop in Guyana and becoming involved in Guyana's agriculture sector. We will bring you highlights of all those engagements. He, of course, accompanied the President, His Excellency Dr. Irfan Ali, to Region 2 on Friday for an engagement with farmers there, rice farmers to be more precise, discussing with them some of the issues affecting them at this time. Lots of issues affecting rice and weather, of course, being among those issues affecting them. So we'll be hearing all about those issues and more in this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture. We will be back after these messages.
Government has committed to assisting coconut farmers across the country in their efforts at expanding their cultivations. This help will come through the clearing of vegetation and digging of internal drainage and irrigation channels. Farmers can also expect help in the form of technical support through NARI and the Hope Estate. Further, coconut seedling nurseries have been established in various regions as part of a decentralization program for nurseries. Coconut seedlings are now available. These are the 5, 3, and 18-month varieties. Farmers are reminded that the recommended number of trees per acre is 50. Persons interested in purchasing seedlings may make contact with Hope Estate on telephone number 663-2709. Once the booking is made, seedlings can be picked up from a nursery nearest you. A message from the management of Hope Estate, Ministry of Agriculture. African swine fever is a highly contagious disease of domestic and wild pigs that is characterized by high fever, bleeding, and death within 2 to 10 days. African swine fever has been recorded in some countries of Africa, Asia, and Europe, and recently in the Dominican Republic in the Americas. Guyana is free of this devastating disease, but there is a risk for the disease introduction due to global movement of people, animals, and animal products. African swine fever is spread when pigs come into contact with contaminated pork products, feed, syringes, and infected materials, such as pigs and ticks. Pork products can carry the virus, even if they have been cooked or frozen. Humans can carry the virus on their clothing and footwear and may infect pigs that they come into contact with. Before traveling, know the disease status of the country you are visiting. Do not visit pig farms while in African swine fever affected countries. Travelers from affected countries are advised not to bring back food, pork, and pork products. Remember to properly clean, wash, and disinfect your clothing and footwear prior to returning or visiting Guyana. If you are arriving from an ASF infected country, kindly report same to the quarantine officer on arrival and do not go near pig farms for 7 days. For further information, contact the Guyana Livestock Development Authority on telephone number 220-6556 or 7, fax 220-6557, or email glda1910@gmail.com. This is what a responsible, health-conscious person should be wearing when using agrochemicals on the farm. Wearing the proper protective equipment guards users of pesticides and other harmful chemicals from the cumulative effects of consistent exposure over a period of time. In the short term, exposure can result in skin or eye irritation, rashes, burns, respiratory problems, etc. Long-term results of exposure to harmful chemicals include certain types of cancers, birth defects, etc. Ensure you wear the proper protective equipment when applying pesticides. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture. Over the last 10 years, seed treatment has been proven to be very effective in protecting rice plants from damage by early season pests such as water weevils, leaf miners, and caterpillars. This protection can last for up to 30 days. In so doing, it allows for better establishment of the rice plants and later no bare spots in the field. Seed treatment also negates the need for using harmful pesticides during the first 30 days of the crop and therefore allows the buildup of beneficial insects such as the ladybird beetle, damselflies, dragonflies, and spiders, which will later prove useful against paddy bugs at every stage of their life cycle. Seed treatment involves the application of fipronil at 20% soluble concentrate in a spray can to germinated seed. The mix is 1 liter of fipronil to 2.5 gallons of water to treat 10 120-pound bags of paddy. This can be done manually as seen here. The seed is spread on a level surface and the chemical applied using a spray can. It is then turned and sprayed a few times until the farmer is satisfied that he has achieved complete wetting of his seed paddy. Treated seed paddy is then covered and allowed to be incubated or pressed for the normal 36 to 48 hours. Then it is ready for sowing. It should be noted that in treating the seed, farmers applying the pesticide should wear the appropriate protective gear as seen here to protect against the harmful effects of the chemical on the skin or if inhaled.
From 2010, since I start my seed treatment, that's when I started and I've continued. I've never stopped because I've seen the benefit of seed treatment. And I've seen increased yield, I've seen production better because it actually gives you 35 to 40 days that you don't have to go back into the field and do any kind of a pesticide control because that actually helps you. So farmers, I'm advising you and I'm giving you that advice because I've been doing this since 2010 and I'd like to see farmers benefit also from these 6 points.
Seed treatment is a critical step in the realization of higher yield. If you have not yet adopted this practice, try it this crop. A message from the GRDB, Ministry of Agriculture. Stakeholders of Guyana's rice sector had an opportunity to engage with the head of state, Guyana's President Dr. Irfaan Ali, this past week, allowing them a chance to raise with the president issues affecting the sector. We begin our review with a late week engagement. On Friday, Minister Mustafa accompanied His Excellency President Dr. Irfaan Ali on that outreach to Region 2, Pomeroon Supernam, where he engaged with rice and other categories of farmers. The meeting was held at the Guyana Rice Producers Association's seed paddy drying facility at Anna Regina. In addition to Agriculture Minister Mustafa, the President was also accompanied by Minister with Responsibility for Finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, and National Security Advisor Captain Jerry Gavaya. The President told farmers that since his last visit to the region in September this year, more than 120 land issues had been resolved. More than 100 NIS-related issues have also been resolved. During the meeting, President Ali informed farmers that in light of the drastic increase in the price of fertilizers, government will remove an additional sum of money per bag to cushion the increase. This is in addition to the almost $1,500 reduction agreed to by some suppliers on the Essequibo coast. During the meeting, Minister Mustafa assured the rice farmers that progress is being made on ongoing bilateral discussions with overseas partners to facilitate government's importation of enough fertilizers so as to supply farmers countrywide. While in the region, Minister Mustafa also accompanied the President to the opening ceremony of the Jaigabin Hotel in Anna Regina, a hotel that boasts 35 rooms and was constructed at a cost of 200 million Guyana dollars. Earlier in the week, the Agriculture Minister sat in on a meeting between President Dr. Irfaan Ali and rice millers from Regions 2 and 5 to discuss issues currently facing the rice industry. Minister Mustafa has been promoting President Ali's vision for the rapid expansion of the local rice industry, in which millers have a critical role to play. The Agriculture Minister has projected a doubling of the acreage of rice currently under cultivation by the year 2025. This would also mean that millers will also have to increase their milling and general production capacity to cater for increased output from the nation's farmers. The millers at the meeting with His Excellency have since described the meeting as being fruitful, as they were able to ventilate several issues of concern to them. They were reassured by the President that those issues will be addressed in a timely manner. Minister Mustafa was also at a meeting hosted by President Dr. Irfan Ali for a visiting private sector delegation from the Republic of Ghana. That meeting was held at the office of the President on Shiv Chanderpol Drive. The visitors, who represented several groups, included West Coast Gas Ghana Limited. They held their introductory meeting with the President, Prime Minister Mark Phillips, Vice President Bart Jagdeo, Minister Mustafa, and other members of the cabinet. The visitors spent 2 days in Ghana and also met with Agriculture Minister Mustafa at his Regent Street office, where the Ghana delegation were briefed extensively on investment opportunities here. Back in September, Ghana's President, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, agreed to lend technical cooperation in oil and gas and to enhance relations between the two countries. This was during a meeting between President Akufo-Addo and President Dr. Irfan Ali at the 76th United Nations General Assembly in New York. On November 16 last, Guyana's Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa was elected to chair the 61st session of the Caribbean Meteorological Council for the next 12 months. The Caribbean Meteorological Council is the government body of the Caribbean Meteorological Organization, CMO, a specialized agency of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM. The feature address at this virtual event was given by Guyana's Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, who is also the head of the ministerial task force here in the region. Here now is that presentation.
Guyana is a low-lying state and a small island developing state. It is on the front line of climate change and variability. Every year there is flooding either in the coastal regions or in the hinterland areas. Besides these recurring flood events, there have been significant rainfall events which have caused widespread flooding, one being the flooding of 2005, which will forever be etched into the minds of Guyanese. There were also significant flood events in 2006 and 2008. But most recently, in 2021, Guyana experienced its worst flood on records in terms of scale. These facts were clearly demonstrated in the primary May-June rainy season, when May 2021 was determined the second wettest month, or the second wettest May in the past 40 years, which caused unprecedented floods affecting every administrative region and almost every sector in our country. The 2021 floods resulted in major damages and losses throughout Guyana, inclusive of regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which are our main agricultural regions. The direct economic impact of the 2021 flood is currently being quantified through a collaboration between the government of Guyana and the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, but it will definitely be in the range of millions of US dollars. This comprehensive damage and loss assessment is anticipated to provide a more definitive qualification of the impact of the flood across all sectors. Nonetheless, preliminary assessments by the government have shown that over 129,521 acres of farmlands, which include other crops, rice, and sugar, were inundated for a prolonged period, and at least 792,877 cattle, poultry, small ruminants, and swine died. It is estimated that the flood directly affected at least 60,000 farmers and households throughout Guyana, with severe social and public health impacts. The government of Guyana, in recognizing the severe impact of the flood, has committed at least $7.8 billion to assist farmers and households in their recovery. Furthermore, the government has helped in the relocation of over 4,000 livestock, provision of veterinary services for over 10,000 livestock, replacement of breeding stock, and the distribution of inputs such as livestock feed, planting materials, fertilizers, and farming tools. There have also been significant efforts to build resilience and help prevent future floods through major investments in upgrade and maintenance of the drainage and irrigation systems throughout the country. Further, in understanding the importance of access to accurate and up-to-date weather information, the government has made several investments to improve the public weather service. It is in this context that the development of a national flood early warning system became extremely relevant. And in June of this year, Guyana launched its first national flood early warning system. While the system is still in its pilot phase, its development is critical to protecting lives, livelihoods, and property. Critical to our medium-term development agenda, the government of Guyana recently developed a roadmap for the development of a national multi-hazard early warning system. Additionally, to further enhance the public weather service, investments have also been made to repair radars and to facilitate the maintenance of automatic weather stations. Ladies and gentlemen, Guyana is well aware that the challenges posed by climate change are not unique to this beautiful country. It is real for all members of the Caribbean Meteorological Organization, whether it be in terms of floods, drought, sea level rise, devastation of coral reef and fisheries, saltwater intrusion, rising temperatures, whatever it is. The Caribbean and Guyana is on the front line. Guyana is currently on the path towards building resilience and attaining sustainable development. We recognize that a major component to achieving these goals is the integration of water, weather, and climate services and solutions. This recognition is underscored in the recently revised National Development Strategy, the Low Carbon Development Strategy, which has been expanded to include biodiversity, ecosystem services, the maritime, environment, and water resources management. Guyana, through the Hydrometeorological Service and other government and non-governmental agencies, is committed to accomplishing the integration of weather, climate, and water agendas through the National Adaptation and Resilience Policy. In the specific case of the Hydrometeorological Service and in its role of national regulator, a strategic plan was recently developed with support under the Climate Resilience and Early Warning System project and the Caribbean Meteorological Organization. Hydromet's strategic plan has allowed Guyana to align the national priorities on weather, water, and climate with the ambitions of the international community as led regionally by the CMO and internationally by the WMO. It is now well recognized that access to timely and reliable weather, climate, and water information promotes evidence-based decision making and ultimately saves lives and livelihood. This is true across the globe, including the Caribbean region and Guyana. The provision of reliable hydrometeorological data to local and international partners is therefore a global public good and must be on the agenda of all member states for early implementation. In order to allow evidence-based decision-making, Guyana, with the support of regional and international partners, have been strategically improving and expanding its observational and monitoring infrastructure with investment in state-of-the-art technologies. In the past 2 years, with support from partners, Guyana was able to almost double its automated observation network, creating a wider network coverage nationally. Additionally, true to its commitment, the government has made significant investment in the hydrometeorological service, inclusive of technological advancement, as well as improving the human capacity. As it is well recognized that the hydrometeorological service is an integral player in the fight to combat the negative impacts of climate change. In the last 2 years alone, we have upgraded the country's climate data management system to international standard, inclusive of training of local staff, which is currently ongoing. Invested in the procurement of computing power to facilitate climate modeling over the next few years. Staff will be working with international partners to enhance Guyana's climate modeling capacity. Invested in the procurement of direct readout ground station, which is scheduled to be installed shortly. This will improve the management of the national hydrometeorological data, allowing the hydrometeorological service to have complete control over its data flows. And we would also improve the efficiency in which we manage and maintain our observational network. Guyana is prepared to collaborate with the Caribbean Meteorological Organization to allow other member states to benefit from this landmark investment. In the area of agrometeorology, the Hydrometeorological Service recently benefited from over US $50,000 from a development partners to strengthen its products and services to the agriculture community. Staff are currently engaged in training to improve this area of service to the Guyanese population. Additionally, over the past 2 to 3 years, the Hydrometeorological Service has been successfully implementing the Participatory Integrated Climate Services for Agriculture initiative across 5 of Guyana's 10 administrative regions, bringing location-specific climate information to strengthen farm-level decision-making. The support of the Hydrometeorological Service in the agriculture sector in Guyana must be timely, and products and services must evolve to match emerging demands. This is extremely important given the fact that Guyana is now leading the CARICOM Ministerial Task Force on Food Production and Food Security. Guyana takes this role as leader very seriously as we work at the regional level in ensuring that the regional food import bill is significantly reduced over the next decade. We believe that strengthening the human, technical, and infrastructural capacity of the Hydrometeorological Service is crucial to Guyana becoming the breadbasket of the Caribbean once again, to ensuring national and regional food and nutrition security. Guyana is therefore extremely pleased and welcomes the work of the CMO, the European Union, and the Organization of African, Pacific, and Caribbean States in bringing the agriculture component of the recently launched intra-ACP climate services and related application programs to our country. We know that this type of investment would not only benefit Guyana, but the Caribbean region as a whole. As you might be aware, Guyana is the only country in the English-speaking Caribbean with a fully integrated hydrometeorological service where meteorologists and hydrologists work hand in hand. We therefore strongly support the work of the WMO in seeking to strengthen its role in water resources management through its hydrological assembly and other evolving mechanisms. Guyana, as you know, means land of many waters, as we are ambitious enough to believe that we can ably manage our water resources in context of WMO's global framework for climate services, the Sustainable Development Goals, and our own low carbon development strategy, which, among other things, envelopes Guyana's water agenda. In this respect, the Hydrometeorological Service in recent years commissioned its first national water quality laboratory. This is significant because it demonstrates that Guyana is also committed to ensuring that the name land of many waters is synonymous with land of quality water. While the laboratory is still in an embryonic stage, the capacity is already there for testing physical parameters. By mid-2022, biological testing is scheduled to commence, and based on our plans, by 2023, the capacity for heavy metal testing would be in place. In its effort, Guyana and the Hydrometeorological Service has received significant benefit through past and ongoing work of the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology and the CMO headquarters unit. I was extremely pleased to learn that both entities have strategic objectives in place, and Guyana, in its role as chair of the council for the next year, commits to working assiduously to ensure that these entities live up to the expectation of its shareholders, the people of the Caribbean region. The decision at the recently concluded COP26 highlights the challenges that Caribbean nations face as a collective. Notwithstanding, we must press forward, ensuring that our environmental stewardship stands beyond question. The Caribbean region can become an example to the rest of the world of how we can collectively combat the existential threats such as climate change. Guyana is also prepared over the next year to work with and for each of you on the Caribbean Meteorological Council to ensure that this institution advances in its work. The government of Guyana recognizes the importance of strong hydrometeorological services and encourage member states to invest in future development of these services across the region. Our vulnerability to the impact of climate change demands that we pay special attention to the work and growth of these institutions. It is equally important that we hold fast to our commitments to our regional institutions to ensure that they are viable and fit for purpose to build our resilience and fulfill the Sustainable Development Goal.
This is what a responsible, health-conscious person should be wearing when using agrochemicals on the farm. Wearing the proper protective equipment guards users of pesticides and other harmful chemicals from the cumulative effects of consistent exposure over a period of time. In the short term, exposure can result in skin or eye irritation, rashes, burns, respiratory problems, etc. Long-term results of exposure to harmful chemicals include certain types of cancers, birth defects, etc. Ensure you wear the proper protective equipment when applying pesticides. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture is warning members of the public that it is illegal to dump garbage of any kind near to or into drainage and irrigation waterways across the country. The NDIA, the agency tasked with the maintenance of drainage and irrigation in Guyana, has noted that there is an alarming increase in the incidence of garbage getting into DNI waterways and causing blockages in the first instance. But worse than that, the garbage that includes clothing, rotting carcasses, pieces of wood and metal gets past protective grills of the critical mobile and fixed pumps, resulting in damage to the pumps, which have to be taken out of service for repairs, placing communities at risk, especially during the rainy season. The Ministry of Agriculture notes that when this happens, millions have to be spent on repairs to the pumps and on clearing the canals of debris thrown there by irresponsible citizens. The ministry warns that rangers of the NDIA will be on the lookout for those engaging in this illegal practice. Persons caught will be made to face the full force of the law. A message from the NDIA Ministry of Agriculture.
Well, that's all the time we have in this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. This Week in Agriculture is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising, based in East Berbice. We will be back again next week for another edition of this program. In the meantime, be good to yourselves and to each other.